mean, looking at this whole thing, all of that, it's just incredible how much material it generates. It generates a lot of material, and it's still not clear what the whole thing is about exactly. Just a few things. I like this bit as well. Happy endings aren't realistic, says Lola. Well, one thing that I was just thinking about recently is that a creative process is really messy. It's like entering massive chaos and trying to make sense out of it. And what I notice my mind wants to do is just to, have a logical, intellectual and rational solution to all of this. And there's just, there isn't one. And in general, I was also thinking, if someone had told me that I'd be making a show about boxing, I would have never believed that.
Fighting is a basic human instinct. I think that's an instinct that we need to be tuned to. When you're here, you don't just exercise your muscles, you exercise your brain. When you wanted to drop your hands on the bag and you were able to keep it up for 5 more seconds, 10 more seconds, or you done one more push-up or done one more round of skipping, you push yourself out up here. And if you can do it here, you can do it in any other areas of life.
I like boxers because they are very direct and they are very passionate people. I think they're full of energy and they were not hesitating to say something. They were not putting on any masks of politeness, fake politeness or something like that. And I appreciate that.
Toughest sport in the world, 100%. So I started when I was 14 and I just turned 20. So I was amateur for that whole time. Now obviously just turned professional. I was bullied really bad, grew up with quite bad social anxiety, suffered with mental health issues quite a lot when I was younger. And because of the way I sort of came up with the environment I was in, social services referred me to Empire. So I started doing sessions here, and that's how I started boxing. I pushed myself past points where I think, how am I even doing this? But then also, for me, the hardest part of it is like repetitive training. Like the other day, for example, I came in, obviously I was so tired. Darren made me stand in the mirror for like over an hour and just do one move. Bam, bam, over it again, bang. Yeah, he's like, right, twist the hips, more coming up, you can't move that, keep your head there, keep the hand there, up there, tuck your chin in, clench your fist. And it was just like, fuck, bro, it's just so hard. But it's the mentally hard sessions that I find the toughest. But when you get through it, when you push through it, obviously, it builds your resilience.
So I moved there when I was 5, and I've always liked to fight. That's what my mum said. So when we came here, I said to my mum, I want to do karate, I want to do all of this. Then I got into a taekwondo club. Then years gone by, I got involved in gang culture, got kicked out of schools, got in trouble with the police, all that stuff. Then I came from a school, I did sessions here. Then they said, oh, you're pretty good at boxing. Now I'm here, changed my life around.
When I came here, it seemed a really vibrant place, and it gave me a sense of adventure and opportunity. It's easier to dream about something than to actually know the reality of the place. I guess if you don't come from some sort of like security and you need to live in Bristol and make your life here, it's not very easy. I arrived to Bristol on the night of St. Paul's Carnival, and it really blew my mind in the most beautiful way. I think it was one of the most beautiful memories that I have, with all the explosion of colors and sounds and smells and different people dancing and having fun, and music playing really loud. So St. Paul's won my heart very, very early. When I moved there, I didn't want to go anywhere. People were telling me that it's a dangerous area, and Easton was supposedly more dangerous. I didn't find any of the two dangerous. I think I wanted to find a story that could resonate with Easton and St. Paul's and resonate somehow with my experience as a young person in Bristol. But it is a really complicated task, because there isn't a generic story that would fit every individual in Easton or St. Paul's, or even the two areas. But somehow, walking past Empire every day at least twice, it captured my attention. Hello. Hi. How are you?
Walkie, there you go. My hometown is Easton. Then when I started professional boxing, my home address was St. Paul's. One of my attributes was running. Hands to the side. I was very good at running, literally. So if there was a situation dangerous, or someone was after me, looking for me to do something to me, they probably just wanted to beat me up. In my mind, they wanted to chop me up and put me in the mincer. So I'd just go to another city to start a new life. The kids of today are cut from a different cloth. Bristol is actually on the map for stabbings, killings. We've got drip kits that can save kids' lives. In McDonald's, that's a target area where the kids are stabbing one another. The people inside McDonald's are trained to use the drip kits. But there was a kid that got stabbed the other day outside of McDonald's, and no one came outside to help him. That was not our problem. The care for human life now is depreciated. My greatest ever achievement in life was winning a British title. It took me 33 years to get that. And then you hear a kid die at 17, 18. And he's never known anything else. He's probably never gone on a plane, you know? He's never even, doesn't know what it feels like to hold foreign currency. You know what I mean? He's never done anything with his life. All he's ever done is rep a gang or a street code, or a street his mum doesn't even fucking own the house on, sorry to swear. I lived in London for 10 years and I seen it. And I come here, it's like the vermin, the venom, the disease is chasing me here, and I was like, no, I'm seeing it. So yeah, I gave up my job, got paid well, and I said, you know what I want to do? I want to get up and I want to make a difference in life. So when I heard about the charity, I said to myself that this is definitely the place where I need to be.
Without being too trite, I know that there's young people now that are walking the streets of the city that would have died had it not been for us. We've got people who work here that say they're only still alive because of Empire.
That's what's great about here with a lot of the young people, because they can relate to the coaches. What we sort of realise here is that we're all going through stuff, but those mistakes that you might have made in the past doesn't define you as a person. Having a sense of belonging here, which I think a lot of people get. They feel like they belong here because, as I said, they're not judged, they're not forced to do anything that they don't want to do, or told that they must lead their life down a certain path. It's for them to figure out in a sort of safe environment.
Hello. So all these people are doing a theatre workshop. Yes, so just letting you know, just in case. Yeah. So first of all, welcome everyone and thank you so much for coming. One of the reasons why I got interested in Empire's work was the fact that they work a lot to prevent knife crime in young people. I was a young person who experienced a stabbing attack in my 20s. And I think that experience makes me pay attention to what's happening around me. What is really important to me when we touch the topic of violence in this work and the creative process is that we don't, as artists, start contextualizing everything through some social, political lens. I think there is a huge tendency to do that, to sort of take young person's experience and say, well, that's because of class, that's because of race, that's because of this, that's because of that. I think it reduces the experience to a number. We need to understand why it happens, but I think it takes a long time to understand. It takes a long time listening. It takes a lot of patience and empathy to do that. When I hear the stories of violence told by young people, I think the best I can do is listen. As long as they are moving, and maybe that means you are moving as well. The purpose of the R&D was to actually test whether our relationship with the boxing world could work and see how we as theatre makers work with people and young people, especially with the boxing background. So the relationship and testing the relationship itself is a very valuable experience. The movement informs all my creative processes because it sort of awakens the natural presence of the performer and the presence of an ensemble. And in the improvised movement, like we explored a little bit here, you sometimes just don't know what's going to happen. When 5 people are moving together in a more or less improvised form, there is always time for things to happen. There is space for mistakes, for accidents. I think a creative process, especially in theatre making, is rooted in negotiation and compromising and sharing your idea and feeding off one another. It would be impossible to make a theatre show working on your own entirely. You know, it's not about you and your idea and your imagination. It's about what's best for the process.
What matters to me is to tell stories that touch me and that I feel are important to be told in order to change the world we live in. It's always really interesting to see how migrants perceive a situation in the world around themselves. So I feel that Igne's lived experience of migration is deeply intertwined with the story she's working on. If you tell a story about a community and the community is involved in it, the story is authentic, the story becomes real.
So this was an idea to build a bridge or explore the bridge between the two worlds. And I think there are lots of connections between theatre and boxing. The connections are that both are very physical, but there is also the entertaining aspect of both. Boxing is a very highly entertaining sport. That's why we watch it, which creates a lot of tension and then drops tension and then builds it up, and there's a lot of surprise. Theatre is exactly the same. If theatre is just flat and monotonous, we're not interested in it. So there are lots of these similarities.
Naomi, do you want to give the coach a name, or is it going to be called the coach?
I think we should give him a name,
let's
probably,
give him a name,
because
We are involving young people who have experience being at the gym, and the workers through their eyes about them, so it's just fair that they, tell their own stories, and we try to capture them. And it's a way for us to find out what the stories may be and find a way how to tell the stories through the words.
First meeting was a year and a half ago. Went to Empire nervous, and we met for 1 hour. He asked me, where are you from? What are you interested in? Do you like boxing or do you like another sport?
Why do you want to box?
Why do you want to box?
So it all depends really on the story that you're trying to get across. It's simple coming up with a story as such, but then the characters and fitting them around the story.
In boxing, you have the bell for the rounds, and that's it sounds a bit like a school bell.
Oh yes, I thought the same thing when I walked into the gym, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit nightmare.
Yeah.
If you think about it in that context.
Young people were great. I think young people were what made it over those 6 days in the rehearsal room. They were amazing. They were so committed. They brought a lot of amazing ideas, and I think that in the next stages, young people should take the absolute lead of this project.
Most young people I meet have got energy, they've got talent, they just need opportunity. And if I'm honest, when I'm having a bad day, I might go and talk to one of them, and I just go and sit there for 2 minutes to ask them how their day's been. I didn't have a great social capital when I was a kid. So I guess in some ways I almost see myself in those kids. And they're like the naughty ones I quite like, because that probably was me a little bit when I was younger, so I sort of quite enjoy talking to them.
As an artist, you don't create the world. The world of your piece in which the characters live starts unraveling itself. And this part of research was to start unraveling the world. But of course, it's still on the surface, and my impulse is to go much deeper into stories, into boxing, into exploration of how boxing and theatre can become one. At the moment, theatre and boxing, while similar, they are not one yet. They are next to each other, like two different planets, next to each other but not together.
Celebrate the ordinary, don't go into the sensational stuff, because then it would just be cheesy. Celebrate what we have in common. You take that room where everybody's different, but everyone finds a way, gets along, uses the space harmoniously, and none of that's been engineered.